Why did Whitebeard say the One Piece is real? Was it because he wanted Roger's legacy to get much higher in terms of legend? What if it was because he saw something and learned something during the Marineford arc that not even Roger was able to witness? The thing that Roger was too early for, Whitebeard was barely able to see a glimpse of. After Ace died, he realized the truth. Everything that Roger told him slapped him right in the face, and he finally knew for sure that the One Piece is real. Telling one of the greatest speeches of all time, smiling in the face of Sengoku, and then dying like the Giga Chad that he is not only one of the most iconic sequences of all time, but also arguably the most important sequence in the entire story of One Piece. In this video, I'll explain to you what Whitebeard realized, why he said what he said, and how what he says might tell us exactly what the One Piece is and what you learn at Laugh Tale. If you're interested in One Piece content, especially deep theories and analysis, then subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our next uploads. Also, make sure you hit that like button as if you were Whitebeard hitting a Kainu, and now, let's get straight into the video. In chapter 576, before the most iconic One Piece line takes place, we see Whitebeard think of a flashback with Gold D. Roger. This was right before Roger's death, and Roger tells him about the Will of D. After this, he tells him that the meaning of the D comes from a story from way back. While remembering this, Whitebeard proceeds to talk about some great war that Sengoku is scared of, and then says, One Piece wa jitsuzai suru. So what did Roger tell Whitebeard for him to feel the need to say this as his final words? Also, what's the context and reasoning for him finally saying this? On top of this, what even is the One Piece? Well, to answer these questions, we'll have to go to another timeline, which is Oden's backstory. I believe that in Oden's backstory, Oda may have accidentally told us what the One Piece is, or at least a lot of big hints to it. When the Roger Pirates find the One Piece, Oden writes in his journal that on that day, they learned the entire truth of the world. This exact line is very important because in the next chapter, Oda tells us what the truth is. After finding the One Piece, Roger remembers the time he and Oden heard the Sea Kings talking. The Sea Kings said that their sovereign and another will soon be born. The two sovereigns will soon meet again, and they've been waiting a long time for this. 10 years until the birth of Poseidon and another 15 for her to grow. They also say that it is almost here, and surely all will go well this time. After this, Roger remembers specifically that Shirley told him Poseidon or Shirahoshi will be born in 10 years, which is the exact same thing that the Sea King said. He then goes on to say that the Sea King's voice was speaking what he calls the truth. And remember, isn't the truth the One Piece? So are the Sea Kings waiting on the One Piece? Roger also says that someone will be born and surpass even him. Apparently, he was just too early. The reason he was too early was because whatever the One Piece told him hadn't even existed or happened yet. I believe that he learned about Joyboy's past and his return and realized that since he hadn't returned yet, it doesn't matter if he found the One Piece. He himself can't do anything more about the overall situation. Roger isn't the only one who foreshadowed what the One Piece was and who told us that it had something to do with the future event. Oden also tells us some very key points. The first one would be that he says he has to open Wano's ports before the day that Joyboy appears. This shows that he somehow already knew that Joyboy or Luffy would come to Wano one day. It seems that he knows more than just this, since when he dies, he wrote to Toki that in 20 years there will likely be a massive war, terrible enough to split the seas themselves. In other words, in another 20 years, the primary figures of this great war will muscle their way into the new world. They are the ones who can strike down Kaido. So the big question here would be, how did Oda know that in exactly 20 years, Luffy, Law, and Kid would muscle their way into the new world and defeat Kaido? Since he already predicted this, we should just assume that a massive war will also happen. And isn't this massive war the exact war that Whitebeard was referring to? In case you forgot, Whitebeard tells Sengoku that he and his world government are afraid of the great war that is coming to the world one day. He then says that when someone finds that treasure, or the One Piece, the whole world will be turned upside down. He is fully confident that someone will find it and that the day will come. I believe that Whitebeard always somewhat doubted what Roger told him because he probably told him something so ridiculous and so far-fetched that even in a world like One Piece, it seemed ridiculous. I mean, the whole idea of Joyboy, his powers of laughter, imagination abilities, and the fact that he's the sun god is just so insane. Whitebeard probably took Roger's word for it but didn't fully believe it. I think that once he met Ace, he didn't know if every little thing Roger told him him was spot on. I believe that Whitebeard originally thought that Ace would become Joyboy since he fits in that timeline of the new era of pirates. He probably thought that Ace doesn't really fit the description of Joyboy and that something feels a little off with it, so he may have started to doubt if what Roger found at Laugh Tale was even true. However, once he met Luffy, I think everything changed. I think Luffy reminded him of Roger more than Ace did, in the same way that he reminded Shanks, Rayleigh, and Crocus. Whitebeard did say how he loves guys like Luffy, and we can already see that he respected him both as a pirate and as a person. Once Ace died, Whitebeard was fully hit in the face with the harsh reality that Ace wasn't going to be the one who would flip the world. He always thought this deep in his heart, and as reality came to him, he realized the truth. He knew that Luffy is the guy who will carry on the wills of many men to bring the dawn. He knew that Luffy is going to be the one to find the treasure and ultimately be the one to flip the whole world upside down. This is also why he tells Blackbeard that he is not the one that Roger is waiting for. He then says that just as there's those who inherited Roger's will, someone will eventually do the same for Ace. You can severe bloodlines, but their flames will never be extinguished. It has been passed down like that since ancient times. This line honestly hits so hard when you think of the whole philosophy of Whitebeard. Whitebeard's philosophy is that people may have biological fathers and family members, but at the end of the day, this doesn't really matter because we're all children of the sea. With this mentality, the world government can kill off the Goldie lineage, but they'll never be able to truly extinguish their light. Somehow, someone will always carry on their will, no matter how hard the government tries to kill them off. I feel like he also learned about will from Roger, given that he didn't know what the will of D was until Roger told him. This is also something that must be very connected to the One Piece, since Whitebeard makes it one of the most important parts of his speech. With everything that I just explained, now let me tell you how and why Luffy changed the mind of Whitebeard during Marineford. In my big Laugh Tale video, I state that I actually believe Luffy is the One Piece, or at least the main part of it. Before I get into why, I thought I'd say that yes, I still believe that there's a physical treasure at Laugh Tale. I believe that the treasure that they'll find there is a bronze statue of a monkey, or of Luffy, a statue of the original Joyboy, 10 cannons, proof of the giant straw hat owner and its meaning, books on medicine, Roger's logbook, the cherry blossoms, a bunch of gold, the story of both the Joyboy from the past and current times, and lastly, being sake. The reason I think all of these things are there is because it seems that Oda foreshadowed it in the chapter called Finale. I explained this way better in my other video, so go check out that one if you haven't already. So now that you know what I think is physically at Laugh Tale, let me tell you why I think Luffy himself is still the One Piece that Roger was waiting for, and the One Piece that will bring it all together. A possible foreshadow of Luffy being the One Piece could go back to Orangetown. In Orangetown, Luffy says that the Straw Hat is his treasure. This could foreshadow it since Luffy is also called Straw Hat or Mugiwara. Therefore, if the Straw Hat is Luffy's treasure, then that could foreshadow that Straw Hat or Mugiwara himself is literally the One Piece. Another foreshadow could be from the scar on Luffy's chest. Luffy's chest has an X scar on it, and we all know that the biggest pirate rule is X marks the spot. Also, notice how the X is specifically on his chest. If Luffy is the One Piece, then the X on his chest symbolizes that he is literally the treasure chest. Another foreshadow could be from the very beginning of One Piece. The most known emblem to One Piece would be its logo. Notice how in the logo, Luffy is in the eye. This could symbolize that Luffy is telling us that I am the One Piece. The next foreshadow or hint has to do with the play on words of One Piece in Japanese. One Piece in Japanese has a spelling with 3 different meanings. The phrase is called Hitotsunagi, translating to in one piece, the rope linking all men, and one sea at peace. Now, doesn't all 3 of these definitions describe Luffy? In one piece describes Luffy since when he finds the treasure, it will be in one piece. When Roger found it, it most likely wasn't in one piece since Luffy wasn't there. This would explain why Roger says he was too early. He was too early because the One Piece didn't even exist yet. The next definition, one sea at peace, describes Luffy since he's the one who is creating peace, or more specifically, one sea at peace. The rope linking all men also describes Luffy because he's the one that brings everyone together. We see at the Reverie that the countries of Alabasta, Dressrosa, Drum Island, and even Fishman Island can get along with each other just because of Luffy. So if this is all true, or at least somewhat true, then when Whitebeard says the One Piece is real, it hits even harder now. He's basically confirming to the world, himself, and even to Roger that Luffy or the One Piece is real. Joyboy is real, and everything Roger told Whitebeard will happen to the world. Is it also a coincidence that everyone who's died and knew about the One Piece either brings it up or brings up something about the future? Some of Goldie Roger's final words were, inherited will, the destiny of the age, age, the dream of its people. As long as people continue to pursue the meaning of freedom, these things will never cease. He also tells people to go find the One Piece and to search the whole world for it. In his last words, I feel like he's telling the world in an inspiring fashion a bit of what he learned at Laugh Tale. The destiny of the age and the destiny of Luffy is finally here. We've already gone over Whitebeard's death and why he said what he said. Oden, on the other hand, doesn't necessarily say anything about the One Piece, but instead he dies smiling just like Roger because he knew the truth that would come. Instead of saying something about the treasure, he wrote to Toki his final thoughts, which were on how in exactly 20 years Joyboy would come to save Wano. I find it very interesting that he says exactly 20 years, which is the exact year that Joyboy appeared. Oden didn't say 10 years, 30 years, 5 years, 19 years, or even 21 years. Instead, he says the exact year, which proves that the prophecy of the One Piece is most likely spot on. We also do know for sure that exact prophecies and futures can be seen in One Piece when we were introduced to characters like Shirley and Katakuri. Another character who learned about the One Piece is Oden's wife, Toki, and her final words are, "You are the moon unaware of the dawn. May your purpose be fulfilled." I already explained in my Laugh Tale theory how Wano is the moon that she's talking about, and that would mean that the people of Wano are unaware of the dawn that is coming for them. Wano's purpose may be fulfilled when its borders are open and when Pluton is used. The dawn and Pluton are key parts to the One Piece, so as you can see, yet another person who learned the truth of the world brings up the future and the One Piece in her final words. Whatever this future war that Whitebeard and Oden bring up is going to be so fun to see firsthand and week to week. Since we're finally in the final saga, we should finally be able to see this massive war that Oda has been hyping up for so long. As a One Piece superfan, I can't wait to see it, but at the same time, I also really don't want One Piece to end. Anyways, this pretty much wraps up my video, and leave a like on it if you had a good time and if you enjoyed anything I said in it. It really shows me your appreciation and tells me if I should continue making content like this. Also, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the next uploads, and if you're still in the mood for more One Piece content, then click on one of these two videos right here.